Sophomore tight end Dax Raymond. Dax is going to recap the Idaho State game and how we played offensively, and then we'll take some questions.
Yeah, so coming off of the loss against Wisconsin, Coach Yost and Coach Wells, they talked about how this week is all about us and for us to play our best. And I believe we really did that against Idaho State, especially the first half. We came out and showed them how we can move the ball. And we came back again in the second half and did it again. And like I said, it was just about us seeing what we're capable of doing. And I think it was a great win for us, especially at the beginning of the season, to see how we can play and the ability that we have.
So personally, how was it to catch some passes, get involved, get back out there, start the game?
No, it felt great. I mean, it'd been a little while since I've been in an actual game, so, I mean, I felt fantastic. It was so much fun.
So you're feeling 100% now?
Yeah.
Across the board?
100%.
How frustrating was last year then for you to have played some and then have to sit like that?
Oh, I mean, you go all summer. I mean, you're really with these guys year-round. They become your family. And, I mean, a football game, it's like you're going to a battle, and to just have to watch your buddies, your homies, your best friends go out and you can't help them, it's really hard. So I was really excited for this year, to help my guys out,
Did you know last year, like I know that it was your back, I think it was bothering you. Did you know going into the fall camp, hey, this isn't getting better after trying or wondering or whatever? Did you know you were probably going to have to sit out?
I mean, I came to the realization of that pretty quickly once we started going.
Dax, Wake Forest thrives on turnovers. That's how they basically beat Boston College, and they created a lot last year too. I want to say they created 27 last year. If you can avoid turnovers or at least limit them on Saturday, how good do you feel about your chances?
I feel wonderful about our chances. We haven't watched much of Wake Forest yet, and I know they're a really good team. They're coming off a big win at Boston College. But like I said, what Coach Yost and Coach Wells have said, Idaho State game was about us, and now we just got to thrive off that win and just keep the thing rolling. Heading out to Wake Forest, it's far away, but it's not going to stop us, and we're going to go out there and get a W.
So in specific, can you think of, you just watched the Wisconsin game, but can you think of, were there specific things that, hey, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 that we need to do better offensively? Or was it just, we were okay, we just didn't execute? Or what was the talk of the week to get better offensively?
Well, just watching the Wisconsin game from the sideline what I saw in that first half of that game was a ton of potential that our team really has. And I think what we need to do is find what was going on in that first half and how to sustain that a whole game, which I believe we can do and we will do this season. And so it's a giant positive for us the way we handled Wisconsin in the first half. In the second half, we let things go and started to struggle a little bit with what they had against us. But the first half was a giant positive. We were in the game with the 9th team in the nation, and we just couldn't finish it. But that's a huge, huge positive for our team to see what we can do this year.
So then when you come out and you start real well against Idaho State, there's got to be a mental confidence that's more than just the executing of it that you get as an offense when you get in a flow or whatever type of thing like that, and that must have been a good feeling in that game, and not punt until the second half and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it was about us and getting the team rolling, getting in the end zone. We got the team rolling, and now we just got to continue to do that throughout the whole year.
How about just the position when you didn't play? Damian coming on, Carson, the young kid. it looks like, I mean, they talked about, like I saw the Washington State game, Boise State, and they talked about air raid, which we kind of have a little bit of. They have no tight ends and anything like that in the program. But so there's a variation of it that we're running with tight ends that must work.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, I mean, Damien and Carson have done a wonderful job. I feel like all three of us, we have the ability to catch the ball and block, which can help with that kind of offense, but then still get behind the line and help with the running game, which if we can be utilized well, which we have been, it's going to help our offense a ton.
And on the weekend, Chris Cooley came and talked to us about you. He
Mhm.
said he talked to you and spent some time with you. What was that like, or did you know much about him before this, or what?
Yeah, so, I mean, I knew who he was, obviously, and he came earlier in the summer and he talked to us tight ends and inside receivers and just talked about his time at Utah State and in the NFL and what he did and what he didn't do that he wished he did. And I mean, I've learned a lot from him in the short time I met with him in the summer and after the game when I got to see him for a second. Yeah, he's an awesome dude. I'm sure you guys all know that.
Anything else for Dax?
I think it's not.
Next
Thank
up,
you,
Cool.
guys.
Let's take some questions.
Yeah, so like Dax was talking about, our focus was on focusing on us and getting better from what we had in Wisconsin. And I think we played well defensively, but there were still some aspects of the game that we need to clean up. And so we've got a lot to work on as we go into Wake Forest. And obviously we held them to 13 points, which is a positive, but we felt like we could have done better in that regard. And then, you want me to talk about Wake Forest? Okay, so they've got some weapons offensively. Their quarterback is really good. Their tight ends and their running backs are explosive. So I think they do a lot of things that our offense does, as far as they'll pace you and they will the RPO stuff. And so I think we've seen a lot of that earlier in the year, and so I think it'll help us as we get prepared for exactly what they're going to do. But they've got some weapons, so we need to come prepared defensively if we want to win the game.
Coach Wells, in the post-game presser after Idaho State, said that the defense played just okay at times. Has he addressed the defense about what some of those things are he wants fixed yet?
Sure, I think the whole staff has really addressed what exactly it is that we want fixed, and everyone on the defense is aware of the problems that we've been having defensively. So we've got a very clear picture of what it is exactly that we need to get fixed.
What are some of those things?
Fundamentally, in the run game, we need to fit better, and that's our big thing is always to stop the run. So when we start getting gashed or we start getting split in the run game, it's almost always a fundamental breakdown. And so just really doing what the coaches are teaching us to do every play is the focus.
Their quarterback is really the first dual threat quarterback they'll face this season. He rushed for a lot of yards against Boston College, 4-year starter now. How much of an extra challenge does that present you, and how much are you looking forward to playing against that kind of quarterback for the first time this season?
Oh, it's a huge challenge. Anytime you have a quarterback who has the ability to, number one, throw the ball down the field well, which he does, and then as well as use his legs, and if a play breaks down or even they run him a lot in design plays, it's difficult because it's just an extra guy that you got to account for. And we got to really bring our A game with him, and we got to keep him contained.
So there is a lot, though, of the run. They could be a run-pass option, all type of stuff with some of the stuff they do.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So there's always that possibility.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. How's Sully next to you seems to have really got off to you notice him when he makes
Oh, yeah.
a lot of plays and seems to stick his head in there, and he's been involved in fumbles and different things like that and stops. What have you seen from him? What kind of guy is he?
Really athletic, really smart. He's picked it up, the defense, really quickly, and it's fun to have a guy next to you who knows what he's doing and has that playmaking ability. So it's been really fun to have him next to me.
And then Toback has seemed to have played
Yeah.
pretty well at the spot too.
Yeah, he has. He's really embraced his role, and every time he gets in, it seems like the plays that he does have, he always does really well. Makes a lot of tackles.
So has it been different to have a linebacker coach just for inside backers and outside were separate? Kind of, I think you were kind of all thrown together a little bit last year. Has that been a little bit different?
Yeah, for the most part, we've always been separate besides last year, and it just seems like one person can't get all the finer details if you have both, because they're both pretty large groups of people, and so trying to coach both of them at the same time is pretty difficult. So having us separate is a huge advantage.
How do you think the guys up front have played defensive lines?
Awesome. It's really you can't stress that enough, because they don't get a lot of the attention, but if they're playing poorly, then the whole defense is playing poorly, and I think they've played really well.
Chase, how encouraging has the defense maybe kind of struggled at times last year forcing turnovers? That hasn't been an issue so far in the first two games. So how encouraging has it been to force turnovers these first two games?
Creating turnovers is a huge momentum shift in the game, and increases your odds to win. So I think last year was it seemed like we just couldn't get them. And this year it's been a huge focus throughout camp. In spring, we're always trying to get the ball out, always trying to turn the tide and let either us score some points or put our offense in a great position to score.
Anything else for Chase?
Thanks, guys.
Chase.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we have head coach Matt Wells recap the Idaho State game, preview Wake Forest, and we'll take some questions.
Okay. How's everybody doing today?
Lovely.
All right. Lovely. It's cute.
Thanks.
Yeah. That's you guys. I'll let you two handle that. Yeah. No. Okay. Well, headed to Wake Forest on Friday for this weekend's game against the Demon Deacons. This is a team that is very improved. They continue to get better every year as you kind of, since we played them in 2014, you've kind of watched them from afar. And Coach Clausen and those guys have done a nice job. There's been a little turnover on their defensive staff. 4 out of the 5 coaches on offense are the same guys. And so they're doing some very similar stuff that, they do what they do on offense. Great, you see them just building a program, and then, last year they get a top 25 win in the bowl game, go to their maybe it was their first bowl win. I know it was over a top 25 team, but a really good Temple team. And I remember watching that game and seeing a lot of these guys now on tape. They've gotten bigger and stronger. Their O-line and D-line are old. Their experience, redshirt juniors, redshirt seniors, a lot on both those lines. John, the quarterback, he's a 4-year starter. The tight end, 4-year starter. I remember seeing those guys and playing against them in 2014. And so they've got a lot of experience. Great win on the road last week against BC up in Boston. So to win an ACC game on the road and start out 2-0, I know they're happy about that. And it's a great start for them. And so it'll be a really good challenge for us to get on a plane and go over there and play an ACC team on the road. But it's something that I know our guys are extremely excited about. Talking to the captains this morning, it'll be a big challenge for us and something that we're looking forward to. And I know our guys are, we need to have a great week of practice and that. So with that, I'll go ahead and open it up for some questions about those guys.
The Ejiofor, or whatever his name is, the defensive end.
Yeah.
It's like he just makes a lot of plays.
He's all over the place. All 4 of those guys on the D-line I think that's the strength of their defense, Al. They're very active. They're twitchy for big guys. They gave Boston College some fits, and they play in the backfield. They're aggressive. They pressure, but not. They don't pressure crazy or anything like that. They'll pop one backer here and there, and maybe even a couple of 5-man or 6-man, but not crazy. I think they rely on those guys up front to to get knocked back and to get pushed back, and they're big and strong, and they did a nice job last game.
Bates, their safety, was one of the best freshman defensive players in the country last year. He had most interception returning yards in the ACC last year. He almost took one to the house against Boston College. So how leery do you need to be of him and where he is on the field?
Can't throw it to them. They do a good job of catching it when you throw it to them. BC threw it right to them, and they did a nice job of catching it.
So offensively, they seem a lot more balanced than they were in 2014, where Wolford threw it 50 times.
Yeah, Jeff, I think that can be a little misleading. He threw it 50 times in 2014, but we got a lead. We got a 2-possession lead and held a 2-possession lead for most of the game, and so I think they needed to throw it. They've he's one of their better runners, or rushers, I should say. He did a good job in the game against BC, and they'll run some zone read with him, and you can see them, their RPOs like crazy, and zone read and some other types of reads that you can see him. He's very, very patient. He's strong. He's a strong runner. He's fast enough, agile enough, but they do, and then the backs, they've got 2 or 3 that they rotate in. Those guys are strong. They're compact. They kind of hide behind those big old linemen, and they pop out and pop through, and they're very effective.
What would you say are the biggest strides you've seen Wolford make since you saw him here in 2014?
Well, Jason, I don't, to answer that question, I don't think I'm qualified. I think that's a Dave Clawson question. I'm not qualified to answer that question. When he played here in 2014, he's a true freshman. He's got better people around him now. I thought he was good in 2014. It just got to be a 2-possession game then, and you knew he was going to throw it, and we were able to pressure the passer a little bit. So I have not studied him his sophomore and his junior year, to be honest with you. We studied him this spring and summer a little bit. So,
As I remember, I was just looking at that. I remember the interception return that Zach got in the game that kind of got you. They got one, and then you got one, and it was kind of a defensive deal to start with there. And then you got the little explosion. But it seemed like it was, even though the final score is 36-24, it seemed like a much tougher game.
It was an extremely tough game. It was close. The pick 6 by Zach. Hey, Nick got a pick yesterday. Did y'all see that? Sorry. I'm not supposed to throw that out in the press conference. That's neat. Fackrell got a fumble too, huh? Yeah, that was good. That's good stuff by the Aggies in the NFL yesterday. But no, that game in 2014 was tight, and it was very competitive. We only had I went back and looked. We've only got 3 guys that played in that game. Jalen and Ian and Lawan. Kent hadn't started playing quarterback yet, so that really, and Braylon Roberts, I think, maybe are the only 5 guys on the team then.
And you had a tough time running the ball against them that
Oh yeah, they were. I mean, that was a great win for us, and it was, it was a tough, hard-fought battle and really close game.
Winning the turnover battle is always important, but I think it's magnified against these guys. They thrived last week, forcing turnovers, and they thrived last season. I think they had 27 turnovers forced last season. So, how imperative is it for you to just be smart offensively and not make big mistakes?
Well, we're trying not to be dumb on offense. So, I think the turnover battle, whether you're playing Wake Forest or anybody, is important. I mean, even teams that turn the ball over, it's going to be important. Wake Forest did a great job. The point that you made is accurate, in terms of they crushed BC in terms of the turnover margin. But, it's one of the things in our plan to win. We talk about it all the time, taking care of the football. Strip searches on defense, ball searches on defense, picks, and then taking care of the ball. It's an important part. It'll have something to say in probably every game. It's not going to be just here or there, but we can talk about turnover margin every week.
I don't want to ask a question that's not right, but you were at this point supposed to be 1-1 in most people's minds. I know you feel like 2-0 is what you want, but what I'm saying is you're hitting a stretch of games.
Tell me what we're supposed to be after this weekend, Al.
You're supposed to be 2-1, right? I mean, what I'm saying is you're at the stretch of the season where this is
Yep.
this is where it will all be decided.
Well-
This next run of games, in a lot of ways for you guys, is the run.
What will be decided is early mojo and early momentum. And I said that 2 weeks ago. I said it before we even played Wisconsin, that, we'll know where we're at the end of the month of September. And I don't think anything's changed. And here we go. We're going to go play two road games. Thanks for reminding me who we play next week. But we're going to go on the road, play an ACC team on the road that won a bowl game last year. One of the teams on our schedule that played in a bowl, and so, yeah, I mean, the next few weeks I think will tell us more where we're at. But we've started out well here before. I hate getting into big picture stuff, but it's week to week, and it's the mojo and the chemistry that your team has, and what's injuries. Are injuries going to take a toll, or are you going to get a little lucky and not get some key guys hurt? And the guys that do get injured, are we going to have guys step up and play well? There's so many questions to be answered. I don't have the answers for you today because we don't know, and I think we'll know more in 3 weeks.
I ask you about Wade or Jaron Colston Green, or those guys' problems for injuries?
No. I mean, I'm not I'm not going to talk about them, and no, you can't ask me. So
They're not season-ending?
no, they are not.
Okay.
No.
If you look at the whole position of quarterback
That kind of ended up funny, didn't it?
and everybody that's there, how do you feel about all your quarterbacks?
I feel the same as we did getting. I'm not sure Idaho State really told us anymore. Is kind of I think what you're getting to, Craig, because you want me to comment on the whole position. So Jordan played, a little over a quarter. DJ played the last series. It wasn't ever in a part that the game was being decided, and either one of those guys had to make decisions. We ran the ball most of the time. I feel like coming out of training camp that, those three guys and then Henry Columbia, I thought overall we had a good quarterback group, I'd like to just play one, and I'd like for the one to play real well and stay healthy is what I'd like to do this year right now. So, but that doesn't have any bearing on Jordan or DJ or Henry and their progress. And shoot, we've had to use the whole room before, so we'll see. But I think they're all four guys that we can win games with. But really, last Thursday night didn't tell me anything different than I thought we already knew.
But you did say that he played okay against Wisconsin. When I asked you last week about Kent, his game against Idaho State looked like he hardly made a mistake.
I mean, 24 out of 26. He was extremely efficient with the ball, made smart decisions, threw accurate balls. We played catch. Our receivers made some competitive catches. It was good to have Dax Raymond back. I think that's always good for a quarterback to have a little bit of a security blanket in a tight end. And, we had two incompletions, one off a tip and, the other one,
in the end zone when he didn't get
the other one was inches from another touchdown. So, good day from Kent. Yeah, and I think it started with the O-line. They gave him great protection.
I asked Dax about it, but watching the Washington State Boise game, they talked about the air raid, which is a variation, I think, a little bit of what Coach Yost has, but maybe it's not all. But they have no tight ends at Washington State in how they do it. What's the advantage of maybe having a little bit of that system with a tight end over maybe without?
Well, yeah, good question. We're definitely not the air raid. I think there's some elements of our offense that absolutely tie back to that. But I think the advantage of having a tight end is it helps you in the run game and helps you more in the play action passing game. With no tight end, I think you're very, very limited in the running game, just in terms of your options and the types of runs that you're running, and then therefore your play action game off of it. I think we have 3 really good tight ends, and we're going to play all 3 of them, and they'll have a big part in our offense. And you can do the same stuff in the passing game with a really good tight end, and like what we have, and I think it can create mismatches for some people, depending on the safety and the linebacker that you're going to try to cover him with.
Something that stood out to me the first 2 weeks is I think your special teams have played well. Your kickers have kicked the ball. Aaron's punted the ball well. Their coverage has been good.
Yeah.
So how encouraging would you assess the first 2 weeks for your special
Well, in y'all's mind, our special teams has played good because there's been no drastic issues. So, therefore, let's, put that, from a coaching standpoint, I think we've done well in special teams, but I don't think it's been anything crazy good. I think we've had some good individual performances. I think Aaron's punted it well. We've downed some inside the 20, inside the 10. Man, it got one taken call back because of a stupid penalty on our part. It was a good call on the referee's part. Craig, I know that's why you're laughing, but I'm not saying the referees made a bad call. We messed up the formation, but it negated a tremendous play by Gage Ferguson. Eberle's been good. He's been consistent. Odegaard snapping. Y'all don't even know who Odegaard is. Okay, that's what tells you he's doing a good job. DJ's done a nice job of holding. And so I think we've done our individual stuff. We still have stuff to clean up. We blocked a punt. That's always big. We still got we're not very good on kickoff return right now. We're bad. So we got to get better blocking up front. We got our timings off in the back end. Everybody thinks it's all about the kickoff returner. It's more about the 10 other guys. We got to continue to cover kicks well, and we've done a nice job so far on the punt. But, we anticipate Wake Forest to load up and come get after us, and so we got to be prepared for that to be able to protect a punter.
Have they been good on special teams?
Yeah, they're good. They're very solid. I think they're well coached. Their schemes are good. I spent a lot of the day yesterday with Coach Tomerdahl looking at a lot of it, and they're very, very well coached up. Good?
Thank you, Mr. Wells.
Okay. Appreciate it, guys.